Welcome back to Bandwagon fans. This is Jeff, and so I'm going to be talking about the latest M Night Shyamalan movie, Glass. Before we get going into the movie, I'd just like to take a moment to invite everybody to hit that subscribe button and that like button. Go ahead and send some positive vibes my way. Help me, show that you're watching and show that you appreciate it. Or hit the dislike button if you don't appreciate it. It's up to you. So, Glass. This is the latest M Night Shyamalan movie. The third in the trilogy that started with Unbreakable, and then, unbeknownst to the audience until the end, went on with Split, and now is up to Glass. This is starring Bruce Willis, James McAvoy, and Samuel L. Jackson. And before we get into the movie, go ahead and take a moment to enjoy some highlights from the trailer.
He's changed over the years. He's given up.
We keep him heavily sedated.
But there is a reason.
For that.
He's too smart for them.
You won't be lonely anymore. You have two new friends.
The three of you think you have extraordinary gifts, like something out of a comic book. I've developed an effective treatment for this disorder. The light will force a different identity to take over.
Por favor, señora. I want my headphones back. Step away from the controls now, little dog. Can't beat the beast!
So you're not going to shake my hand and let me walk out of here?
I need your abilities to get us all out of here and show the world we exist. That sounds like the bad guys teaming up.
All right, so this is if you know anything about movies the last 20 years, you know about M Night Shyamalan, and his name has been made fun of so many times. I hope I'm getting it right. Shyamalan, I think I have it right. So if I am getting it wrong, I'm not trying to mock him. It's just it's been joked about so often, it's hard to remember what the correct pronunciation is. But if you know anything about his movies, you know that he's known for the big twist ending, starting with The Sixth Sense, going into The Happening and The Village. Split, it was kind of his resurgence, and the big twist of Split was that it existed in the same universe as his earlier movie, Unbreakable. And then it was announced that Glass would come out. And so what Glass basically is or the conceit of this movie is that Samuel L. Jackson believes that that superheroes are real, and that comic books are basically people trying to describe or trying to interpret what they see as they encounter superheroes throughout history. He believes that Bruce Willis is a superhero who has an unbreakable body and super strength, and that he is the mastermind, the super villain to counter the superhero. And then James McAvoy's character, and I forget what his actual name is. He goes, James McAvoy. So he's listed as having a bunch of names because it's the split personality. But basically the collection of these people goes as the Horde, and it includes this incredibly super strong creature called the Beast, Patricia, who is kind of the ringleader of the Horde, and then several other characters. Samuel L. Jackson believes that this guy, or the Horde, is his secret to defeating Bruce Willis's character, who starts being called the Overseer, amongst a couple other names. So that's kind of the setup of the movie, is that superheroes are real, that comic books are a loose telling of their actions. So the movie, kind of early on in the movie, all three characters end up in the same psychiatric hospital, and then we are introduced to our fourth main character, played by Sarah Paulson, Dr. Ellie Staple, and this is where the conflict in the movie starts up. So Dr. Ellie Staple plays a psychiatrist whose thesis is that there are no superheroes. This is just power of suggestion and she announces that she has 3 days to quote unquote cure them or treat them. Otherwise, something, and I don't remember if it's really explicit what would happen, but basically she has 3 days to convince them that they're not superheroes. And at that point, you can't really talk about the rest of the movie without completely spoiling it. So that's kind of the setup of the movie. My overall impressions of it, the strengths were definitely the performances, particularly James McAvoy. For anybody that I did not see Split, but for everybody that did, you know what an over-the-top amazing performance it was. I can tell you from watching Glass that he steals the movie, and it's kind of remarkable how he goes in and out of all these different personalities he has, and the physical transformation, the way he carries his body, how he can look like he's bulked up and then look like he's not. It's really remarkable. So that's kind of the strength of the movie. Where the movie kind of falls apart for me is the movie itself, and M Night Shyamalan are painfully aware of the audience. It is aware that it's being watched, and it's directed in a way where the characters aren't doing things that make sense in their universe. They're doing things because he needs the audience to think a certain thing at a certain time to set up the twist. And I'm gonna do a spoiler section after this, and that's really where the movie just lost cohesiveness or kind of really did fall apart. Was not so much the twist itself, but the setup for the twist. The twist negates. Anyways, I'll get into that with the spoilers. So overall, I was not enjoying this movie. Then towards the end, there was a moment where a guy sitting 3 rows in front of me actually got up with 10 minutes to go. Like, he was like, all right, I've had enough. I'm done. But right after he left, there was a moment where I was like, all right, I see what's going on here. I started to actually appreciate everything that had come up to that point. But then within 10 minutes, but before the movie ended, I started thinking about all the new problems that the twist had revealed. And I was like, all right, I'm done. The movie does set up future installments, and those could be interesting, but M Night Shyamalan, he's at his best when he's kind of constrained. The more he thinks he's allowed to do, the worse he makes it. So Sixth Sense, a lot of people aren't fond of the movie The Devil, but I actually really liked it. But when he's given free rein to do whatever he wants to do, he goes too far, and everything kind of, trains start derailing. So overall, worth seeing in the theater? Probably not. This is probably more, definitely worth watching at home, definitely worth streaming. Might be worth going to see at a matinee, but it's definitely not worth paying full price. So that's the overall impression. And if you stick around for a minute, I will talk about the twist and what the twist did for the rest of the movie. So for those of you that bounce out, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff. Stay on the bandwagon. And for those of you that are sticking around because you want to hear the twist, here we go. So Sarah Paulson's character, the entire movie. So the M Night Shyamalan tries to set up kind of a monkey's paw scenario where, are they real superheroes or aren't they? Are these actions really happening, or is it all a figment of their imagination? And Sarah Paulson is the main advocate for it's all in their imaginations. The problem is, as an audience, we know that it's real. We know the superhero powers are real. We've seen enough of this. We've seen them fall out of buildings. We've seen them, she tries to say that James McAvoy's character was watching rock climbing videos, and that's how he was able to scale walls. And we, as an audience, know that that's nonsense. So when the characters start acting like maybe they believe her, we can't believe them. And furthermore, it's really hard to believe her. Or as the audience, I'm sitting there thinking she's just the dumbest person in the world. She is denying what is so obviously true. She is just that stupid. But then the twist happens, and the twist is that she actually does know they're superheroes. She is part of a centuries or thousands-year-old secret society that is dedicated to eradicating superheroes and making sure that they are defeated before the public ever knows about them. And so the 3 days she has is to convince them they're not superheroes so that they stop doing superhero stuff, or presumably they would be executed. But that's the first twist, is that this person who you go the whole movie thinking that she's the dumbest person in the room, and then you find out that she's actually not. She's in on everything. But then you really, or at least I really quickly realized, okay, she's not the dumbest person in the room. She is actually the dumbest person in the world. Because once you realize that she does know they're superheroes, everything else in the movie falls apart. For example, these three characters are put in the same psychiatric hospital, and with almost no security whatsoever. As you watch the movie, it almost makes sense. Okay, there's no security because the people running the hospital don't believe these guys actually have superpowers. They're not actually super strong, so they're not going to be able to break down the metal door. Once the twist happens, we know that they know. So then why did they not have security the whole time? Why do they even have these three people in the hospital at once? Why on earth, if your whole mission is to keep these superpowered people from doing superpowered things, and you have them in custody, why wouldn't you just execute them immediately? And I get it. Well, if everybody did the rational thing, you wouldn't have a movie. But like I said in my review of Annihilation, you have to be willing to excuse stupid shit, but there comes a point where the movie is the stupid shit, and it's just not excusable anymore. So this character that I had no sympathy for because of how stupid she was becomes even dumber once you find out that she knows the truth. So, and then that leads into the second twist. The second twist was that Samuel L. Jackson's character, Mr. Glass, had actually anticipated everything that the staff was doing, and he set them up so that he could get the three people together and they could all escape and do a big show that would be caught on 100 different cameras and then broadcast to the world. So, and that's really, so obviously at this point, if you're watching, we're not worried about spoilers. All three of the characters die. The Horde, Bruce Willis's character, Samuel L. Jackson character, they all die. Sarah Paulson lives, and then there's a few other characters. And I didn't even mention earlier, like Anya Taylor-Joy's character, because honestly, so there was Anya Taylor-Joy, who was a friend, girlfriend, love interest of one of the personalities of the Horde. And then you have Spencer Treat Clark was playing Bruce Willis's son, and then Charlene Woodard played Mr. Glass's mother. So then these three people release the videos to the world, and that's kind of how the movie ends, with this organization trying to keep everything a secret, and these three friends, relatives of the superheroes making the videos known to the public. So obviously it's going to set up a potential sequel to Glass, where it's almost like somebody else, I don't remember who it is, referred to Men in Black. And yes, it's almost gonna be like Men in Black, but with superheroes instead of aliens. That might be an interesting movie. It's an interesting take on a really realistic, grounded what would happen if superheroes were real, and it might actually be decent. But I really hope they turn this over to somebody else, because this is an example where M Night Shyamalan just couldn't get out of his own way. Trying so hard to set up the twist really made the whole movie suffer. And so I've got back here the trade paperback for Marvels. I'm not sure if you can, it's kind of glared out. One of my all-time favorite comics is Marvels, and I wish the MCU would kind of do one Marvels type movie where, and with Marvels, it was basically the whole story is done through the perspective of a photojournalist. So it really shows what it would be like for an average person on the street to live in a world with superheroes, with a Green Goblin, if a Galactus actually showed up. So it's a great concept, and I kind of want to see where this goes, but this was a really poor setup for those movies. Still better than anything the DCEU is doing, but overall this could have been a lot better. So that's kind of my take on Glass. I didn't like it. I liked it for a second, and then I didn't like it again, because, and it really just comes down to the movie itself being hyper aware of the audience rather than just telling us a story. So for those of you that did see it, go ahead and leave your thoughts below. Do you agree with my assessment? Did you see the twist coming? Did you like the twist? And most importantly, does this movie make you look forward to future installments in this story? Surprisingly, I actually am looking forward to future installments, even though I thought this was a pretty weak start. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Jeff, and get on the bandwagon.